Hello and welcome to Homemaking with Joy. I'm Rachel, a wife of 6 years and a mom of 3 little boys ages 4 and under. Here on YouTube, I use my channel to share my joy for homemaking, particularly working in the kitchen. I like food and cooking and baking and all of the things that go along with it. This is going to be the first week of January and our meals. I'm not sure how much I'm going to film. I'm going to film at least a little bit from every dinner. Maybe you'll get some breakfast and lunch in there too. But many thanks to Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead for hosting this challenge, and I'm very excited to take you along with me. So let's get started. We had our big pork and sauerkraut meal at lunchtime, and then you can probably hear I'm getting over a cold. I have a kiddo who's sick. So this afternoon we were napping, laying on the couch, that sort of thing. I wanted dinner to be really relaxed. So I have a bunch of bread back here. I anticipated having company over this past weekend, but with all the sickness going around, that didn't happen. And so now I just have a lot of bread. So I could freeze it, but instead I'm going to use it to make French toast for our dinner tonight. So I'm going to slice up some bread, make the custardy stuff, and then fry up some French toast for a lovely dinner. Let's do it. This is currently my favorite bread recipe. It is a yeasted, freshly milled sandwich loaf, and it turns out great every single time. I have a sourdough loaf recipe that I like too, but this comes together so quickly, and it makes 3 loaves at a time, which is great for my family, or like I said, having company over. I like to cut it in thick slices for French toast, but it also works great in thin slices for sandwiches. My husband regularly comments, why would anyone choose store-bought bread over this? It's delicious and it's actually nutritious. Wonderful, fresh. You could just spread it with some butter and it is good any time of day. It is especially convenient when I have this on hand because I can make so many meals with it. This French toast in particular is a family favorite. Moving on to the egg milk mixture that we will dunk the toast into. So this recipe is a higher protein French toast. It recommends 1 egg per slice of toast so that you can actually get some protein out of this meal too, which is why I feel better about serving it for dinner. I'm going to add 8 eggs, I believe, and I'm not sure how many slices of French toast I did. But you'll see, instead of just lightly dipping the bread into the egg mixture, I'm actually going to soak it to try to get as much of that egg and milk in the bread as I can, and that actually gets us a lot more protein per slice. I also feel good about feeding this meal to my family because of my homemade bread made with freshly milled flour. If you haven't looked it up before, the flour that you buy in the bag at the store is not the ingredient in its original form. Wheat berries come off of the wheat stalk, and I grind those in a mill at my house to make freshly milled flour. It has all of the component parts of the wheat berry, and it is way more nutritious than just the flour at the store. So if you haven't looked into it, I highly recommend you do that. And this is why I take the time to mill my own grain and make my own flour and make my own bread and all of those bread products. To the eggs, you saw me add milk and maple syrup as my sweetener, cinnamon, salt, and this is a little bit of homemade vanilla. It is running very low, so I need to check my pantry to make sure I have some more. If not, then I will make some more. All you need is vodka and vanilla beans. It is super duper simple. Now here I am going to grab a whisk, mix all these really, really well, and get ready to dunk that bread. It is time to get the bread on the griddle. I'm going to put my slice in and I'll pick it up to show you here how I dunk it in to get it to absorb as much of that egg mixture as I can. It is a little bit messy and you have to be careful that the slice of bread doesn't break as you're moving it around, but it does absorb a lot of that egg and milk mixture. Just be prepared for messy hands. It's just part of the process.
It's time to eat. I served the French toast with some pears and oranges and topped it with maple syrup.
It's January 2nd. My kids are doing their nap time, quiet time, and I'm coming to the basement to get some food for dinner. I don't really meal plan in the traditional sense. I like to have lots of options and then be able to throw things together. A lot of it depends, because I have two toddlers, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm really never sure what they're going to eat. And like today they had a great breakfast, an okay lunch, so I want to make a pretty straightforward dinner. Nothing like a casserole or mixed together, so I'm hoping they'll at least eat some of the component parts. So I'm in the mood for something that will thaw quickly. So I'm thinking through what I have in this freezer. These yellow bags. This is all Good Ranchers chicken, so it's individually wrapped chicken breasts. These are Italian seasoned, and I have a couple different kinds in here. That's plain. So I'll have to sit you down. What if I do this? Sit you down. Let's see what we have. This is Italian seasoned, plain. Oh, garlic pepper. That sounds good. What's the other one? Oh, the other one is fajita flavored, but I'm going to go with garlic pepper chicken breasts. So we have meat. Again, these are individually wrapped, so I'll just take out however many that I want to cook for dinner. Side dishes. So here we have... This bag of potatoes is already starting to sprout. So I think we'll do potatoes. My kids really like it when I cut these up into little cubes and roast them. So I could probably do the chicken and the potatoes in the oven at the same time. These are just cook longer. And then on the side, let me get home canned green beans. So I really like green beans heated up in the oven. And I have some leftover bacon in the fridge from a breakfast I made a little while ago. So if I do some bacon and green beans on a tray, potatoes on a tray, and chicken in a dish, that should all bake in the oven. As long as I time it all correctly, that should be delicious. And if nothing else, my kids will eat potatoes, but they should also eat the chicken. I highly doubt they'll eat a green bean, but we'll try it. So there's my spread for dinner. I'm going to take it upstairs. My kids are done playing nap time, all the things, and I'll meet you back here at the camera for dinner prep.
I am filling my cast iron skillet with bacon. It doesn't matter how much I have, I just fill it up as much as I can. This bacon came from a local homesteader, her farm. She grew this pig, and then we were able to buy half of it. It is delicious, and I think of her every time that we get it out. So grateful for the local farmers, the effort they put in to grow this great food for us. I'm planning to cook and crumble this bacon to put on top of the green beans, and then I will use the bacon grease to help flavor the green beans as well. Because it's a cast iron skillet, I'll be able to put the green beans right in and then pop the whole thing into the oven. I wanted to share this little clip too because there I am in the background helping my son with something at the table. Everything is multitasking in my world, and so many of the videos online just show the food component, but this is real life. I'm able to put the bacon on the stove, then go help my son and pop back and forth between the kitchen and my other kiddos, and it is always just an adventure. There they are playing at the table so nicely. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it does not, but again, I'm close by and can step in if I need to. At this point, the baby was content in his chair, which makes things a lot easier, but you'll see his legs later when he needs to be worn to fall asleep. I'm so glad I can do that for him and make him feel so comfortable, but I don't like to do it when there is hot oil around. So I'm putting that bacon grease on the pan here. I'm going to use that for the potatoes as well. So I'm chopping up these potatoes. There's the baby, and I'll put these on the tray. On the far left, I do have a little extra bacon grease that I'll put on here, and that'll be enough for all the potatoes. It does help make them really crispy and delicious, and you don't need quite as much salt, even though I like to heavily salt my food because it's delicious that way. But Anyway, here we go, just chopping potatoes. Thankfully, I can do this while wearing the baby. The big boys were playing, and try to get the job done as quickly as possible. Buying whole ingredients like this is less expensive and better for us, but you do have to make the time to prepare it. I could purchase frozen, pre-diced potatoes, but it comes with a laundry list of ingredients, and I'd rather do it this way. Thankfully, I've been doing it this way for a long time, so my kids are accustomed to the fact that if you want to eat, mommy has to cook dinner, and this is what it takes. Thankfully, I can talk to them, and we have music on and stuff in the background, so it's not too bad. I've already added all of the grease. There is the salt, and here is some pepper. Sometimes I also like to add garlic powder and onion powder, but I don't think I did this time. They turned out great anyway. Time to dump the green beans in my cast iron skillet. This is why I like wide mouth jars, because it's quite a challenge to get them out of regular mouth jars. I'm going to toss them in the residual bacon grease, add some salt and pepper, and then when it's time for them to go in the oven, I can just pop this whole skillet in, and that makes my life much easier. I like when there are fewer dishes to wash. Moving over to the chicken, I am opening all of the bags. Like I said, these are pre-marinated and individually packaged, which makes them really convenient for a lot of things. I think I ended up doing 8 of the chicken breasts. We ate 6 of them, and then the other 2 were for my husband to take to work the next day as leftovers. They cook really quickly because they're a nice small size, and it's just so convenient to have everything cook in the oven at the same time. If you are unfamiliar with Good Ranchers, it is a meat subscription service. They provide really high quality meat, and it all comes from U.S. farmers and ranchers. This is what our plates looked like when we were ready to eat dinner. The little boys ate all the food on their plate except for the green beans, as I anticipated. But my husband and I ate well and enjoyed all of the parts. This is one of those reminders that cooking does not have to be complicated, but it can be absolutely delicious. I used simple ingredients, but made a really yummy dinner.
It is January 3rd, and I'm preparing dinner at about 10 a.m. because it is a slow cooker meal. When I was in my freezer yesterday, it reminded me that we're getting part of a beef in January or February, and so I need to have enough freezer space to put all that meat when it comes in. And so I got out a chuck roast, and I'm going to put that in my slow cooker. I am like terrible at roasts. I don't know why. They're not my favorite cuts of meat. I struggle to get them tender. So I'm hoping that while I'm on camera, I can actually do it correctly. But I share that to let you know that even people who look like they know how to cook struggle with certain things. And I've cooked way more complicated things than roasts, but for some reason they don't just fall apart whenever I take them out of the slow cooker. So maybe today will be that day. I have my Instant Pot here, and this is what I use as my slow cooker. I just put it on the slow cook function, and you are supposed to sear this roast before you put it in the slow cooker, which you can absolutely do in your Instant Pot, but because I have this sweet sleeping baby on my chest and 2 other kids running around, I don't want to deal with flying hot oil, and so I'm just going to skip that step today. I know it makes it taste better, but today the priority is to take care of the children. As one tries to jump up and grab the camera. No, thank you. I don't think so.
While I had my camera out, I thought I'd show you what I made for the kids' lunches. This is what we like to call a snacky lunch, and I just pull seemingly random things out of the fridge that I think they will eat and that will create a fairly well-balanced meal. They ate all of this and enjoyed it very much. It is now dinner time. This is the cookbook from which I got the roast recipe. I really like this cookbook and highly recommend it. Here is my roast. It is really ugly on camera, but it did taste good. It didn't fall apart, but it tasted good. Here is our sweet corn. We preserved this over the summer. You can see I have a video all about it. And some baked potatoes with lots of butter, of course. Let's eat.
Hey friends, it's January 4th. I have been thinking about dinner most of the day. I had plans to use up that pot roast in a new creative way and show you. But then I fell asleep on the couch with my kids this afternoon and we're all super tired. And I looked in the fridge and we have so many leftovers containers of just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I think tonight's dinner is just going to be clean out the fridge night and see what we can find. There's plenty of food in there. We just have to put it together and it's not going to be pretty or themed, but we'll eat just fine. So I think if I'm not embarrassed, I'll show you what we all have on our plates, what we kind of pull together, and I'll just try to hit all the major food groups, macronutrients, that sort of thing, and we'll eat whatever for dinner. So if you don't do this on a regular basis, go for it. And just because I'm filming this doesn't mean I shouldn't show real life. This is real life and we need to clean out the fridge. So let's do it because a nap was way more important today.
This is what our plates look like after we emptied the fridge. My kids had leftover French toast, some scrambled eggs, and homemade jello, which is just apple juice and beef gelatin. I decided to have some white rice, the rest of the garlic pepper chicken, and some of those green beans. My husband grabbed a baked potato and some leftover ham.
It is January 5th. It's much past dinner time, but that was because we had some company for dinner. We had a semi-impromptu visit from my in-laws, and my mother-in-law offered to make dinner for us, which is always a great idea. She made fried rice, which here are the leftovers that I'm gonna snack on before bed. She makes a great fried rice. Fun fact, my husband and his family lived in Cambodia for 3 years as his parents were missionaries, and so her fried rice is authentic. She knows what she's doing, and it was delicious, which is why I will be eating more of it. We'll see what I come up with for tomorrow's dinner, but for now I'm going to go snack on this, watch a show, snuggle my baby, and go to bed. See you tomorrow.
It is Saturday, January 6th, and I am making breakfast. You will get to see all 3 of our meals today. It's much easier to film on the weekends when my husband is home. But anyway, I'm in the process of making my freshly milled pancakes. I use soft white wheat and grind that into flour and then mix the rest of the ingredients as you will see. It is a family favorite, and I do have the recipe and tutorial on my YouTube channel. I'll link that in the description for you. My flour is done in the mill. I also added my dry ingredients right to that bowl as the mill was running, and now it's time to mix my wet ingredients. I make sure those are mixed well and then I pour it into the dry ingredients. I will mix these around and then let the batter sit. The longer you let this pancake batter sit, the thicker and fluffier the pancakes will be. This is because I'm using freshly milled flour, and freshly milled flour takes longer to absorb that liquid than all-purpose flour does, so you'll get a thicker pancake result if you let it sit longer. Here you can see the thickened pancake batter, very unlike what I was just stirring. So ready to get it on the griddle. I have a hungry family to feed. moving on to lunch, we spent our Saturday morning working on a project, so I didn't have a lot of time to think about or make anything for lunch. I am relying on some home canned goods as shortcuts to make this an easy, yet nutritious and delicious meal. I'm emptying some chicken out of a pint jar. It's already shredding as it's coming out because it's so tender. But I'm going to continue to shred it here so I can turn it into some super simple chicken salad. And just like that, the chicken is ready. I'm so grateful that I put in the time up front to can this chicken, and now I can have a super fast meal. Here I'm grabbing some home canned pickle relish. This is my favorite sweet relish recipe. It has a lot of flavor, so I like to add this to the chicken salad first and then taste test from there. There is also some liquid that comes with this pickle relish as I add it to the chicken salad, which is another reason I like to add it first. If there's enough liquid from the relish, then I can back off on the amount of mayo as I see fit. I like to add a couple squirts of Dijon mustard just for a little extra flavor. My family doesn't love this flavor though, so I just add that much and they don't notice, but I do. Now for the mayo, this is just plain old store-bought mayo. I'll add a scoop of that and mix it together, and we will have our chicken salad. Along with the chicken salad, I will peel and slice this carrot for lunch. I have a couple small oranges that I will peel. I have some cheese sticks for a little more protein for the kiddos, and I'll offer some applesauce in case they'd like that on the side. And I am putting the chicken salad in these tortillas to make some cute little wraps. The kids really like handheld lunch items, and so this fit the bill. It was delicious, it was fast, it checked all the boxes. It is dinner time and I'm preparing some ham. I had this thawed in the fridge from another occasion. It didn't get eaten then, and so I decided tonight was the perfect night to serve it. It came in one big round slice and I cut it up into these smaller pieces, heated up some oil in my cast iron skillet, and will hopefully get a nice brown crust on both sides, warm it through, and we will enjoy that with some potatoes and green beans. I only realized this because I'm filming, but this is basically the same meal that we had in the beginning of the week, except we had chicken with our potatoes and green beans instead of ham. But it was delicious then, and it'll be good now, and these are ingredients that we need to use. The ham was already thawed in the fridge, the potatoes are starting to go bad, and we have loads of canned green beans from the garden. So let's use what we have and not get worked up about eating different kinds of foods, because my kids didn't remember and they didn't care. They devoured the potatoes and they liked the ham and they even tried a couple green beans. That's how it goes with exposure. If you keep showing it to them, they're more likely to try it. Here's my first round of ham steaks done. You saw me add some brown sugar to get a little glaze, and they turned out great. The second round of ham is in the cast iron skillet. I'm grabbing the potatoes and green beans so we can feed this hungry crew. So this is Saturday night's dinner. Fried ham steaks in the cast iron, cubed potatoes tossed with oil and salt and pepper and roasted until they're golden and crunchy, and green beans tossed in some bacon grease with salt and pepper and garlic powder, and I will add bacon on top. It was so good. Here is my plate, and there was more than this eaten. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching the whole thing and seeing what I made for my family this week, the first week of the Pantry Challenge. If you liked this video, please subscribe so you can see next week's video too. See you then.